Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting a like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, today's first story comes from a throwaway account, and it says, "Am I the arsehole here for calling my girlfriend childish and telling her to leave after she intentionally destroyed a gift that I got for my little sister?" My girlfriend Megan and I stay together. She had a fight with her parents and asked if we could move in together, so we did. Not too long ago, I had to take my little sister in. I can't disclose much except the fact that I was her only option. When we had to talk about me having to take my sister in, Megan did not like the idea. She told me that I was too young to have such a responsibility. What will happen when we get married and have our own kids? Our place was too small, etc., but didn't outright say she had an issue with it. I obviously couldn't turn my back on my sister, so I went ahead with it despite her reservations. Although my sister has always been friendly to Megan from the moment she met her, Megan is always just indifferent. And it sucks because my sister really admires her and enjoys talking to her. I just thought that maybe they don't connect because of my sister's age. A month ago, I bought my sister a Switch. She's always wanted one and all of her friends have it. I figured she deserved it as she does well at school, helps with chores and is generally a well-behaved kid. She loved it and has been taking good care of it. Megan wasn't happy when I bought it. She actually sulked. She would borrow the Switch incessantly and my sister would not say no, maybe because she was afraid to. But Megan would use it so much that it felt like it belonged to her. My sister never said anything. She would just patiently wait for her turn. Sometimes Megan would use it when my sister was at school, saying that she gets bored when I'm at work. All this made me uncomfortable. So I asked her to please tone down on the Switch as it's unfair on my sister as it was her gift. Megan agreed, although it was clear that she was upset. She gave us the silent treatment for the rest of the night. Last week when I came back from picking up my sister from school after work, we found her Switch broken. And that's putting it lightly. It looked like it was deliberately smashed. My sister was distraught. When I asked Megan what the fuck happened, she told us that she accidentally dropped it and it broke. It was obvious that she was lying, and when I pointed that out, and all the other times where she seemed to have an issue with an 11-year-old for no reason, she got annoyed and told me that everything was fine until my sister moved in. I called her childish and asked her to please pack her bags and go back to her parents' house because I need space and time to think. This only made her more annoyed, but eventually she left. Her best friend texted me last night to tell me that I was an arsehole for kicking Megan out because on top of everything else, I know how rocky a relationship with her parents are. Does this make me an arsehole? It's one of those times which I know is going to make no difference to the story whatsoever, but I would love to get the parents' point of view here, what she's like at home. Because it says she's got a rocky relationship with her parents. It sounds like she's got a rocky relationship with some people the way that she's acting. Purposely destroying a child's Switch just because she doesn't want her in or she's got some resentment towards her moving in. And the best friend getting in contact with you, I wonder what she's been told as well. You know, the best friend might be just backing her up blindly like sometimes you see, but I wonder what story they've been told. Because I'm damn sure it wasn't I intentionally destroyed a Switch because I resent his little sister. But routine friend says not the arsehole. She sounds vindictive. You deserve better. Opie says she is, and to think I thought we had a future together. Delicious Mix says she should pay to replace the Switch. Opie says she is unemployed. I'm the one who is paying rent, bills, and everything else. Apollo Simba says, I wonder if her parents' side of the story is different than the one you got from her. Silent Joe says, probably hates her parents telling her to go to college or get a fucking job. If she's bored sitting at home, she can look for work to fill the time. The Demon of Fever Swamp says, instead of bullying little kids. Knight says, and destroying their expensive property. Seb Screen says, not the arsehole. She isn't your wife. She does not get a say in your decision to take your sister in. And she is quite frankly a despicable person for bullying and intentionally hurting an 11-year-old who looks up to her. On top of that, she sounds like a terrible partner too. You work and let her live rent-free and she does nothing all day but play on the Switch and bully your sister. And look at that. The first time you stand up to her BS and she already ran to her friend vilifying you. Dump her like radioactive waste and tell her friend to eat glass if she cares so much. She can take on the insufferable burden that is your ex. Opie says, I spoke to her beforehand to let her know so as to not take her by surprise. I was really taken back by her reservations but decided to give her the benefit of the doubt. Not everyone welcomes change easily and she is an only child who doesn't understand what it's like to have siblings. But I see now that she is not a very nice person, because who would have an issue with an 11-year-old that looks up to you and is just happy to be in a stable environment, and to go as far as destroying something that she cherished and then lying about it? She just seems unstable, and I don't want her around my sister anymore. She wouldn't survive living with her friend. She always trash talks her. Shake my head. OP comes in with an update and says, I just wanted to write an update on what happened after I posted. When I kicked Megan out, I already knew that there was no way our relationship could continue. After reading the comments on the post, I knew that I needed to officially end the relationship and not leave things hanging. I only said to her I needed time to rethink because I wanted her to leave without a fuss. She had already caused enough trouble. I hadn't spoken to her since what happened because I was ignoring her texts, some of them telling me that she missed me and wanted to come back home. I decided to text her to arrange a meeting. She told me to come over to her friend's place because she only stayed a few days at her parents' place. When I got to her friend's place, I told Megan that the relationship is not working out for me and it's best that we break up. I said I don't see myself getting over the fact that she intentionally destroyed something that meant a lot to my sister over her irrational jealousy. Not to mention that she never really opened up to my sister, which should have been enough for me to end the relationship then. My sister deserves to be around someone who is willing to form a relationship with her. I had the rest of her stuff and proceeded to give them to her. She started crying and pleading, then accusing me of choosing my sister over her. I clearly never really loved her. She knew that this would happen after my sister moved in. I just said to her, this is exactly why I'm breaking up with you. I also told her that she really needed to reimburse me the $300 for the Switch that she accidentally dropped because my little sister is heartbroken over it and has been sad about it ever since. She rolled her eyes and told me that she already said it was an accident and that it's not her problem anyway, since I don't want to be with her anymore. I didn't feel like continuing to argue with her, so I told her to never contact me again and left. When I got home, I blocked her everywhere. I'm relieved that she is out of our lives, but I'm very disappointed in myself that it took something so drastic for me to see that Megan was not a good person. Difficult thanks, says to the OP. She showed you she's an insecure pick-me in some imagined competition with your little sister, and you believed her. Good for you. You're an excellent brother, and I'm sure you will find someone that makes you happy and cherishes your sister. OP says thank you, and to be honest, I'm not in a rush to find someone. I just want to focus on making sure my sister is alright. Leading Strain says, sounds like you made the right call. It's tough, but Megan clearly wasn't respecting you or your sister. It's good you stood up for your family, even if it took a while to see it. No need to beat yourself up. Sometimes it takes a big moment to realize what's best for you. Absolutely, breaking up was the right thing to do in this situation, and OP sounds like a wonderful big brother and someone that's going to provide that stable home for the sister who sounds like they need it at this moment in time. And, you know, the ex-girlfriend's attitude in this when you told her, even if it was, you know, we know it's not, but even if it was completely an accident that she broke the Switch, you would offer to pay for it to fix it, right? But she rolled her eyes at you, said it was an accident and it's not her problem. Ugh, dearie me. What a horrible person. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from Miserable Article 44 and says, am I the arsehole for not supporting my wife's decision to punish our son and let him go to a party that will be tonight? This is a throwaway, but this involves some absolute high school drama nonsense that someone my age shouldn't have to deal with. But maybe I am tripping and missing something, so here I am. I, 45 male, share a daughter, 17 female, and a son, 15 male, with my wife, 41 female. My wife's best friend, 40 female, has 2 daughters, 18 female and 15 female. My wife's best friend moved to our town about 6 years. My wife and her best friend have not so subtly pulling for the two 15-year-olds to end up together. I find this weird and low-key creepy. About 2 years ago, wife's BF's youngest daughter appeared to have developed a crush on our son. My son talked to me about it and he had zero interest. So we discussed how to tactfully but firmly let her down. She has approached him again a number of times over the last couple of years and he has reaffirmed his lack of interest. This past summer, my wife's best friend's oldest daughter turned 18. The parents went all out for her birthday. It was a whole weekend of festivities and events. One of the events was a couple's dinner for the oldest daughter and all of her friends in couples. The younger daughter of wife's best friend wanted to go to the dinner but did not have anyone to go with. She asked my son and he agreed to go, but only as friends and just this one time. So they went together. After the dinner, the couples all watched 10 Things I Hate About You together. It was my son's first time seeing it and he commented that he thought the Heath Ledger singing scene was cool. This is important later. My business partner, 44 male, every year for the last 5 years, throws a huge Halloween party. All our employees are invited along with close friends and family. The party requires a costume, and at this party there are prizes for best individual costume, group costume, and couples costume. My wife's best friend and her family are obviously invited every year. This year the Halloween party is tonight, October 26th. So let me get to the reason I am here. About a month ago, my son is at school and comes towards him is my wife's best friend's younger daughter with a whole song and dance routine. She ends it by asking him to be her date for the Halloween party. My son was so frustrated and reiterated for everyone to hear that he is not interested in her like that at all. Of course, it being high school, some kids laughed and she ran off crying. She's been bullied pretty badly because of it. My wife's best friend is livid and thinks our son owes her daughter an apology. My wife agrees and thinks, at a minimum, he needs to defend her against the bullying. My son has said that for 2 years he has told her he is not interested and reiterated it over and over. At this point, he thinks it's kind of harassing to him, and it's not his role to defend her harassment of him. I agree with my son. My wife and I have had a number of disagreements about it since it happened. Well, things have intensified in the last couple of weeks or so because another girl, who wife's best friend's daughter apparently does not like, asked our son to be her date for the party and he agreed. They're doing a pretty dope couple's costume. This has really pissed off my wife because she thinks he should at least not go to the party with another girl out of respect. I think that's ridiculous. I plan on driving them to the party with me. My wife now does not want to go to the party and is saying I'm an arsehole and raising our son to be one. So, am I the arsehole? Now, I find the wife and the best friend pushing them together weird in itself, and you said not so subtly, and it sounds like it's been going on for some time. And for me, whether it's right or wrong, I'm totally unsure, but it just felt like that encouragement, them pushing this, is what's encouraged this behavior for so long. And I can totally understand why the lad would feel harassed by this after a couple of years of this. I remember myself when I was in school, I got asked out by this girl and a group of friends were all watching and waiting for my reaction. And I was like, no, sorry, kind of thing. And I hated doing that because I didn't want to hurt someone, but I didn't want to be with someone at the same time. I just wasn't interested in that moment in my life. And they kept pushing and pushing to the point that I had to avoid being around them, because I didn't want to hurt this person, you know? But now the mum in this story doesn't want him to go out of respect. I mean, that's just wild. I'm sorry, but no, you're doing the right thing here, OP. Nagarapi says, not the arsehole. Tell your wife that consent goes both ways. What if it had been a boy harassing her best friend's daughter for 2 years? Would she still push for the daughter to give that boy a chance, or to defend that boy, or force her to not go to a party with another boy out of respect? She and the BF are perpetuating some pretty damaging behaviors in the best friend's daughter. Bit replies to that saying it's also detrimental to the daughter of BFF. She needs to accept that rejection happens and it's okay. He doesn't like her, and had she recognized that earlier, she would have saved herself the embarrassment that she endured at school. Her mother and OP's wife set her up for failure. OK Childhood says not the arsehole, and your wife is being utterly ridiculous. She's basically telling your son that he can date her best friend's daughter or no one. The girl was bullied because of her own actions, not anything your son did. Keep sticking up for your son. I have a feeling he's going to need your support. Boeing says Mum is way out of line. Agree with whoever said this is harassment. It is. Mum and her friends see the harassment as cute and are far more concerned with the girl's feelings, which are borderline stalkery, than those of OP's son. And yes, no doubt the girl's ears are being filled with all kinds of nonsense by her mother. OP, continue to support your son. He's being harassed, and the fact that Mum and her friend are in the grips of some fucking teenage romance novel doesn't make it any more acceptable. But there's a lesson here too. If someone is crushing on you, never, but never agree to do anything couple orientated with them as friends. That was a serious mistake right there. You're absolutely not doing them a favor. A person in the grip of a crush is often looking for any reason to believe it's possible. And a final comment from Celtic Muse Books, who says, okay, let's flip the genders here. If BF's son was repeatedly pressuring your daughter to be in a romantic relationship with him despite her repeatedly saying no, it'd be seen as a creep, no questions asked. Why does the friend's daughter get a pass here? Thanks for stepping up and being the decent parent and reinforcing your son's right to date someone of his own choice, not buckle under to his mum's fetish about mating him with a BFF's daughter. That is so very, very creepy. I'm going to suggest a long conversation with your wife about consent and choice, and that unrequited crushes are just a part of teen years, and she needs to get over it and find a guy who is actually interested in her. I'd also mention that you have your son back 100% on this subject, and will keep an eye on how she treats girls your son dates. Not the arsehole, unless A stands for absolutely being a great parent. Also, assuming that this is a true story, the couple's party for the 18-year-old was creepy as well. So the 18-year-old friends who didn't have boyfriends and girlfriends didn't get invited. Your wife's friend sounds as wacky as your wife. So OP did kindly come back in with their update, and it said, update, given the events of the past couple of weeks, I thought I would give an update. My wife did not come to the Halloween party. I took my son and his friend and they had a great time. Unfortunately, only came in fourth in the couple's costume voting. After the party, tensions with my wife died down considerably. She still felt what I did was wrong, but she took a what is done attitude. The bullying at school has gotten more intense. Apparently, my wife's best friend's daughter confronted the girl who my son did take to the Halloween party. That escalated the bullying from other girls, and two factions have formed among the girls in 2 grades over this, and it has gotten out of hand. Apparently, some accusations have been thrown around about cheating at my son by various girls. My son has been unbothered because all his truly good friends know the truth. Last Friday, we got a call from the school wanting to meet with us about the situation, since my son was the source, their words, not mine, of the issues. We met with some of the administration and one of the teachers on Tuesday. They wanted my son to help the situation by defending my wife's best friend's daughter to their classmates. He refused and talked extensively about her harassing behavior over the past 2 years. They pushed against his description of her conduct, but we ended the meeting with my son promising to provide a list of her harassment over the past 2 years. Tuesday evening, my son prepared the list and showed his mother and I. When my wife saw the list, it was like scales fell from her eyes. She got pretty emotional, apologized to our son, apologized to me, and we had a good group hug. She is now 100% on our side. She asked our son if she could share the list with her best friend. My son agreed. My wife's best friend's response was to double down. My wife is going low contact for the time being. On Wednesday, we took the list to the school. It is a private school and has a strict code of conduct for students in and out of school. So there is a possibility best friend's daughter may have some type of punishment for her behavior. I took my son out of school for the day and we hung out all day. Just dropped him back off at school today. So this is the update. That was incredibly infuriating in the update from the school, in my opinion, that they called him the source of the issues rather than the person that's been harassing him all this time. It's just like infuriating. And look, I'm not excusing the daughter's actions in this at all. I believe that she was harassing him, but I also believe that the two mothers strongly encouraged this behavior, that they've done this woman a strong disservice with the way that they've encouraged it. But again, no excuses for the behavior from her. Like I said, it was harassment from the way it was written. Dealing with 2 years of that, the guy just was like, I've had enough of it now, and I don't blame him for it. And I feel sorry for the dude because now he's in the middle of all this shit, these factions and all this stuff being created when this guy just wants to crack on with his life, you know? Gee whiz. And I do wonder some of the harassment he's faced that was on this list to bring the mum to tears. It does sound like he's been through a lot. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, as always, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved. Truly, it's absolutely amazing. And I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.